Welcome back to the Webby O'Neill channel, and it's only Manchester United that can make the headlines for the transfer of a club official. And yes, we're talking about Dan Ashworth. We're going to be discussing the reports over the last 24 hours, so get involved in the chat with your opinions, Reds, because we will get you involved in today's video. First of all, I'm really glad we're inside today because it's absolutely throwing it down outside. Might have to get a builder in to build us a little hut.
That'd be nice. No, I'm glad I'm inside. It is lashing down. Look, if these reports are to be believed, then Berrada, Omar Berrada was quick to act, and Dan Ashworth had no hesitation in accepting the job. It just seems to me, from these reports, it's making it look like more of a slapstick occasion, bit of a joke, really, bit of a amateurism on Dan Ashworth's part. But Omar Berrada, not only was he quick to act, he's here at Manchester United and he's got some dark arts behind him.
Yeah, first of all, we're going to discuss the report from Craig Hope from the Daily Mail, which he put out last night. And it was more of a pro-Newcastle article, you know, looking at it from their point of view. I think it's obvious of where this has come from. And in it, it did say at the top, Dan Ashworth sent an email to a Newcastle address inadvertently revealing he was being tapped up by the incoming Manchester United chief executive, Omar Berrada, who was still on gardening leave from Manchester City. But I want to know your thoughts to that.
Well, when you talk about dark arts, Omar Berrada getting in touch with him, clearly from the reports, he got on the phone to him. Should have told him, keep it to the phone, because he's left a trail of evidence and he's messed it up. Dan Ashworth clearly doesn't go down them routes. Lesson learned there for Dan Ashworth, but it's caused major concern. And no wonder Newcastle are absolutely fuming if these reports are true. But going down there, he's give information, as I see them reports, that he's give information on his transfer from Brighton to Newcastle. And he's give that information to Manchester United. I think that is going to cause lots of problems, and I can fully understand how Newcastle are proper peeved over this. They've got, I would say, the foot on United's neck with this, and I think Dan Ashworth and Manchester United have got something to answer here.
Yeah, it did later on in the article state that, and in a potential breach of confidentiality to Newcastle and Brighton, Ashworth also disclosed details to Berrada of the agreement between Newcastle and Brighton that took him to St James's Park in the summer of 2022. But, you know, have we got to have a little bit of fun with this article, you know, as Manchester United fans? Because, you know, you can also take it with a pinch of salt, whether it's actually based on any facts at all. I'm sure the arbitration and the outcome of that will actually expose the truth.
I say, listen, it is fun to some people, but it's a full embarrassment to Manchester United. And I think it's an embarrassment to Omar Berrada because he's not nailed it on to Dan Ashworth what to do. And the procedure, don't leave a trail. You know, if you want to get caught, then leave a trail. And that's what he's done. And Berrada, being at Manchester City, unfortunately, the dark arts have followed him. And it seems as though there's another trail here. Yes, it's a bit of fun for people out there. But at the end of the day, it's serious. In a way,
it's serious allegations that are made, really, especially with breach of confidentiality agreements and stuff like that. I'm not also clued up on employment law, so forgive me, but you can see where it's sort of coming from in them articles because it is kind of poisonous.
Some people would say it tells you the character of the people involved, of what they're willing to do and go behind the scenes. I think what Manchester United were looking at, INEOS and Sir Jim Ratcliffe, was getting Berrada to speak to him and try and get the information out and then go into Newcastle as though like they were coming in with an official contact and trying to hide the fact that they tapped Dan Ashworth up and also that they knew the facts and the costings of the transfer from Brighton to Newcastle, thus saving themselves a lot of money. So really, when you look at it, if they're true, these allegations, these stories, Manchester United have acted underhand and been caught out. And Newcastle, and I did say it at the very beginning, they're very, very angry and they're going to stick it up, United, as much as they can. But it's a big, big embarrassment if this is true.
Yeah, it's also said later on this morning in the Telegraph, I think it was from Luke Edwards, and it said that Dan Ashworth will base his arbitration case against Newcastle United on a claim that the club breached his contract by placing him on gardening leave before he officially informed them of his desire to leave. So that sounds the whole bread and butter of his case going into that arbitration.
Yeah, but the bread and butter of his case seems to have been blown apart with these articles stating that he was conniving and being snidey. And that's how it looks to me. I'm just giving it in the proper working man's tone.
Yeah.
Proper snidey. And that's what it was. He's tried to have Newcastle over. He's tried to save his future employer some money. And that's not the way it's done. He thinks he's going to win. He thinks he's right in how he left Newcastle United. I don't see it that way. I don't see that he's been sacked. He's been put on gardening leave while they sort it out with Manchester United. And until it's sorted out, he can't move. And I think Newcastle have acted in the right way. If it was the other way round, I'm sure Manchester United would be going mad that an employee has released confidential information. Now, is it confidential information? The transfer fee from Newcastle, from Brighton to Newcastle. I'm not too sure on that. I'm not a lawyer. I don't think anyone out there is a lawyer, but it will get sorted. But I personally do believe that going to arbitration, which is where it's going, I think these two clubs will sort it out before they actually go into the room and get it sorted out. I do think that.
I think with your straight talking a lot of the time, which I think a lot of people appreciate out there, I think we might need a lawyer going forward with this channel to back us up, because there's some proper down-the-earth honesty from you. But you see a lot of finger-pointing now. We have done for the last few weeks, etc. Reports coming out on both sides, a bit of PR. And there's a lot of finger-pointing in the public domain as well, which isn't a good look for either clubs, though, is it?
No, this is the sad thing about it. Well, sad, bad, whatever way you're coming from it, looking at these stories. I think it's just personally embarrassing. I think it's embarrassing for Omar Berrada. I think it's definitely embarrassing for Dan Ashworth, and it shows you where his thinking's at. He's leaving a trail knowing that Berrada has got him on the phone and is going behind the backs, and that's what Dan Ashworth is doing. He's going behind the backs of his employees, so it doesn't leave him in a good light. So at the end of the day, going forward, this has to be rectified, sorted, and dealt with as quickly as possible and put to bed. But it's a lesson learned here from Dan Ashworth. Okay, proper lesson. The dark arts, if you're going to play them, Dan, play by the rules. Don't leave a trail where someone can come back, right, and show that you're acting in bad faith, because that's basically how I see this. Dan Ashworth has acted in bad faith. It goes on. We know it goes on all over the place, but people don't leave trails and make silly mistakes by copying other people in on an email, because that's what he's done. A proper silly, childish mistake. I don't know anyone in my family or my people who I mix with have made the same mistake, because they like to keep that trail to themselves and not open to the public. He's made a mistake. Bad mistake.
One thing that might not be in his office when he does come to Manchester United, and that's a laptop and his own email address then.
Maybe not. He might have to have someone looking over him. But it doesn't
might have to have a secretary doing all that for him.
Yeah, but of course it is. It's laughable. But in another way, it's serious.
Yeah.
He's claiming, and this is the thing what I don't understand, he's claiming that he's been unfairly sacked and that, and he's not. He's on gardening leave, and quite right that he's on gardening leave until the two clubs sort it out. Newcastle know how they've been had over.
What do you think, if any of this report is actually true, what do you think Sir Jim Ratcliffe's thinking?
Embarrassed. Totally embarrassed.
He must have wanted to start flipping tables the lot. If anything of that is true about the communication from Dan Ashworth to Berrada, and that's obviously now been leaked out into the public domain.
He's not had a good time, Sir Jim Ratcliffe, lately. You look at the Coventry semi-final. He was absolutely gutted looking at the Glazer there, thinking, I've been had over there. I'm not happy with you, Glazer. I think I've made a bad mistake. That's the body language he's given.
That he's been ripped off.
That's been had right over. Now, he looks at this, right? And I think he's had a quiet word somewhere in someone's ear and said, this is not the standard or what should be happening to Manchester United. I've come in here to clear this out, clear the rot out. Let's get on. This is what we want. Get it sorted. And then there's an almighty cock-up by Dan Ashworth informing his employers he's having them over and he's talking to someone else. So Jim Ratcliffe, Manchester United, just look in a bad way here, and Ratcliffe will be going mad, and he won't want this again. Everything seems to be going pear-shaped for him. It does. Everything seems to be going pear-shaped for
But it just shows
Jim
you
Ratcliffe.
how much madness has been going on, though, in the background at Manchester United over the years, though.
Yeah, but I just don't understand, right? If they already knew Ashworth, why they didn't go in, why didn't they play with a straight bat? I don't understand. If you start off, as I would say, being snidey and going round people's backs and not playing the right way, and you want to be looked at the statue of Manchester United, he's set the precedent now, right, of this is the way we act, this is the way Manchester United behave. Can they be trusted? If these stories are true, these articles are true, Manchester United can't be trusted. That's how it looks in the big world, and that is not a good look going forward for Sir Jim Ratcliffe and INEOS, and certainly not for Dan Ashworth and not for Omar Berrada.
He needs to make this a win, though. You know, with the sizable fee that's being muted from Newcastle of £20 million for Ashworth, you know, he needs to come out on this on top, surely, Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Manchester United, to go into future negotiations on transfers for players coming into the summer to show how much of a force they can actually be to get things done.
I think the only way they can get a win out of this is by sorting it out before arbitration, right? And then just having a non-disclosure agreement of what they've sorted out. That's the only win they can get United from this. So no more information is revealed. The truth comes out, okay? Let's just kill the story. Let's kill it now. Let's just get everyone quiet on it where there's a non-disclosure and just pay whatever we have to, because this is an embarrassment.
When do you think this is going to all get sorted out? You know, just judging off what you've seen and you've read, you know, can you see this where Dan Ashworth comes to United before the summer transfer window starts? Or do you think you're looking at more potentially towards the end of the year, possibly even next year he starts?
No, Dan Ashworth, it'll get sorted out by the end of this month, surely. It'll have to be. Once that arbitration comes, the deal will be done before it, so it'll get sorted out. Look, Dan Ashworth's claims here that he was unfairly put on gardening leave, sacked, whatever you want to call it, right? It's just laughable. Absolutely laughable. You know, if you're a boss and you've got someone who's working for you, who you've worked hard and paid good money to get into your to be your inside your company, then at the end of the day, that person goes behind your back talking to other people. You know, it's disrespectful. At minimum, it's disrespectful. And at the end of the day, Newcastle have a genuine claim that Dan Ashworth has acted inappropriately while an employee of Newcastle United. And I did say there would be murders over this, and this is how it's going. Newcastle are having none of it, and they want their money. And if United offer their money at the end of the month, when this arbitration thing goes, right, then that's fine. Just give it them. So you might as well just give it them now. And I've said that from day one. Just give them the money, get it done, get Dan Ashworth in. And what have we done? He's not in. Has Dan Ashworth really communicated with United since then? Has he been on the front foot? Has he been working inside Old Trafford? Well, no, he won't have been emailing. That's a cert. No ways he's been emailing. But we've missed Dan Ashworth because of the cock-up and the way United have gone about it. Omar Berrada set this off by making a phone call and talking to Dan Ashworth, and he messed it up by not telling Dan Ashworth, do not send me an email and do not leave a trail for this conspiracy if these stories are true.
I know, but sometimes, like you said before about your working class roots and stuff like that, you automatically know in your head not to go and email back on a paper trail.
Of course, you never leave a trail. That's the idea, never leave a trail. But the problem was, Dan Ashworth had no hesitation, right, in wanting the job, right? And he got giddy, and that's the fact of the matter. He got giddy and he just piled Omar Berrada with information on an INEOS email. That's what he did. He got giddy. I'm going to Man United here. Have what you want here. That's what he did. Got giddy and he forgot and didn't realise But then again, Omar Berrada should have warned him, and he didn't. If he plays the dark arts, play it proper, or don't play him at all.
With how loose he is, Ashworth, and loose with his lips, I wouldn't want to do a bank job with him because you'd be in the nick for at least 10 or 15 years. But I'm just going to go into the chat. Richie Club Sports said, I said at the time, Freeman or Mitchell, Ashworth has no loyalty to anyone, as his record of going from club to club shows he follows the money.
I don't think he follows the money. I think what you've got here, you've got someone here who does a capable job, right, and keeps moving up the ladder, right, and his talents and what he's worth has been spotted by other employees and other companies, and they've brought him in and they've gone for him. That's what happens. You do a good job on a certain level, you get recognised and people come poaching you. That's what it is. I don't think it's anything to do with loyalty. Okay, even though I was just having a little bit of a laugh and a giggle about him getting giddy about Manchester United. He wanted Manchester United. He sees Manchester United as a bigger club than Newcastle, and that is what's upsetting Newcastle, because they've been relegated as just a normal football club. They don't see themselves as that. They see themselves, Newcastle, as going to be a massive club, but clearly Ashworth doesn't, and he didn't hesitate and got giddy and went straight for it. At the end of the day, he's going up the ladder. He's not going down the ladder. So I don't think it's just about money. If you talk about money, then who's accepting money? Footballers. They're just accepting the money. But I don't think Dan Ashworth is. I think he is looking to go further up the ladder.
Yeah, no, I agree with some of them comments there you made. Tom says, so a Newcastle employee has been in contact with a City employee. That's not on United, surely. I think what the article's also saying, it's what's been discussed in the correspondence from Ashworth then to Berrada in the actual email, in like leaking of like certain sensitive information and stuff like that.
Well, there is sensitive information
from what the article says, but like I say, whether you believe that with a pinch of salt is up to you.
Well, listen, what has Dan Ashworth given him? He's that giddy, right? And he was that quick to accept the job. He'll tell them anything they want. He'll have told Omar Berrada anything he wanted. Yeah. So what information he's passed over could be everything. Yeah. So the thing is, he could have already passed information on to Man United, what Newcastle didn't want passing over. So they might want to look at further emails and also might want that arbitration to find out exactly what has been done beforehand. And that might be their sort of like their way of getting what they want, their full whack. And Man United might be forced to pay it so that doesn't come out. We don't know if any information, if these stories are true, how much information Dan Ashworth has actually passed over. You heard stories early doors, didn't we, about how Newcastle wanted to put him on gardening leave, right, so he wouldn't be able to, like, pass on transfer information or anything like that. The way Dan Ashworth has acted, according to these reports, is he's just jumped in 2 feet and gone, here, have all this, have everything. He might have already passed it on. We do not know, right? And Man United might not want to have this information come out, what Dan Ashworth did actually pass over in emails before this and after.
Well, let's hope if he does come here to Manchester United, Real Madrid then don't come calling and trying to tap him up, because he'll then start telling them everything about what's going on at Manchester United.
Well, if he emails me, he ain't getting a reply. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, I think you actually might get one off his lawyer, to be honest with you, what we're saying today.
It's based on reports.
It is based on reports, just for you out there, Dan Ashworth.
And we're giving our opinion based on reports.
Yeah. We are indeed. But up to now, obviously, we've got Jason Wilcox in place. We've got Berrada coming on. Is it middle of July? Do you think we're more than capable to get through a transfer window without Dan Ashworth in, who's like a sporting director? So he's going to be covering all sorts of sporting decisions inside the club. But do you think we're more than capable?
I think we're more than capable. Omar Berrada have obviously been busy. Sir Jim Ratcliffe would have been talking to him well before it being announced about what he wants from him if his bid is accepted for 25% of the shares. So I think they've got on with it. I don't think everything's in place. I think there's a lot of upheaval to come yet, other people to come in. But for now, I think there's a sort of like a core group of people there what can take this club forward, especially dealing with transfers in the summer. What them transfers are, I do not know. Are the transfers what are going to happen in the summer based on us selling What type of transfers? Is it the manager's decision? Is it other people's decisions? We don't know. Does Sir Jim Ratcliffe want a coach? Does he not want a manager? We don't know yet, but the right people are in place for now to take it forward step by step.
With a sporting director, you know, they're involved in all like the club's football recommendations on football, etc. Do you think they also want him in as soon as possible as well, so he can also give his opinion and a stamp on whether it's Ten Hag's here next season?
Well, they want him in as quickly as possible so you can get a working relationship with everybody inside the club, so everyone knows face to face, right, what path they're on, right, and they're all working for the same aims. That's what you want, and that's probably one of the reasons why Sir Jim Ratcliffe is not a fan of people working from home. He wants people there so you can talk face to face and get a proper guide of what really is going on and an understanding between your fellow workers.
A lot of people talking about Pochettino. You know, if you've want to discuss it in the chat, you always can do, and I'll always mention it. But what was your thoughts on that news last night about Pochettino leaving Chelsea?
Leaving Chelsea? I just don't think he can work with him. I think Chelsea are looking to carry on selling players, and he's looked at it, Pochettino, and gone, well, if you're selling the players I want to keep, then you're not listening to what I say. I can't build a team around these players what I want because you want to sell them. What is the point of me coming here? It seems as though it's a mutual agreement. So maybe Poch has been thinking about this for a while. It's not just come out about players being sold at Chelsea. It's been going on for a while. So I think Pochettino has looked elsewhere for a while and made his mind up a long time ago, and he's sorted something out. Or he might just have a rest and then move on in the new year. But I don't see Pochettino. It was a difficult job for him, and it would be the same at Man United for any manager if they came in. It'd be difficult because at the end of the day, I don't think INEOS really are in a position to bring in a new manager who they claim to be the man to turn Manchester United around when Manchester United hasn't even sorted out its problems in the background and will have not sorted out its problems. So if anyone out there is thinking, oh, Pochettino's gone, he's coming to Manchester United, well, Pochettino would still be facing the same problems behind the scenes because there was people who are going out who he might work with, right, what are going to go. And so there is many problems behind the scenes, which is no different than what's at Chelsea. Yeah,
I totally agree. And I think I'll end it on that. Or anything more to say?
No, I'm fine with that. Omar Berrada, dark arts. He knows the dark arts, doesn't he? He's been at City. They've got 115 charges. But I don't think Omar Berrada's got anything to do with that.
Oh, yeah. We might have another lawyer watching the video apart from Dan Ashworth now.
Omar Berrada, as far as I'm concerned, just phones people up.
Yeah, he does. You need to get that updated version of EncroChat, my mate. But just like to thank everyone for joining us today. If you've enjoyed the video, smash that like button. If you want to support us as well, subscribe to the videos. And I was going to say something, sorry?
Are you going to tell them about Saturday?
Yeah, Saturday, we've just passed over the 70,000 subscriber mark, and it's much appreciated from everyone here, and we felt like we needed to give something back to you. And one of the ideas that we have got, if you are up for it and you want to get involved, is maybe doing a live watch-along during the FA Cup final. Now, if you do want to do that, if someone wants to put something in the comment section where you put it in there and you get, let's say, about 200 likes on it, we will do that watch-along for you on Saturday instead of like going to the game. But just let us know what you think in the chat, because we don't mind doing it. We appreciate everyone getting involved. It's your channel as just as much as ours. So if you want us to do it and you want to get involved, like I say, come and join us and let us know in the comments section. But
and we'll come out with more details on that over the next few days, because it is FA Cup final weekend, and we'll start our countdown to that tomorrow. Yeah,
the only thing is, if we did go down to the game, I don't think we'd get a match reaction out until maybe the following day or the day after, because we just want to sort of concentrate on the game. But we're quite happy to do a watch-along for everyone in there, get involved. We've never done one before anyway, so it'll be interesting to see how much of you want to get involved and if you enjoy it or not. Just a bit of feedback from everyone out there, really. So, yeah, enjoy the rest of your day, everyone, and we'll be back tomorrow with another video on the latest Manchester United news, and we will probably start looking towards that FA Cup final on Saturday. Much appreciated. Enjoy your day, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.